You are now listening to the smooth sensations and high vibrations of Alex, host of the best relationship channel on YouTube. Alex, drop them gems on us.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can become a member of Elite Fleet. And today we're going to talk about MTR versus Sixdagoddis. They got a little beef going on based off of a reply MTR did to Sixdagoddis video. And we're going to talk about who was right because this is actually a really good topic to further discuss. Now, we're going to do a reaction to what Six said and what MTR said about what Six said. But before we do that, let's talk about how this little mini beef or this tension even started. So Six wrote a reply on her Facebook where she said, in quote, this: videos like this are gross to me. At the real MTR knows exactly who I am. I literally never bother any of you, yet y'all will literally lie on me and mislead people by plastering my face in your thumbnails with negative titles and clickbait for your own gain at my expense, knowing I'm not some woman. Notice they refuse to say my name and that I have my own channel and platform. Now, for those of you who don't know, when MTR decided to do the reaction to Sixdagoddis video, he posted this thumbnail. Now, there's two problems with this thumbnail. One, as content creators, you pretty much know if you're going to reference something someone else said, you probably should put their name behind it. If you don't put their name in the title, which I can understand why sometimes you wouldn't necessarily want to do that, you should at least give them a shout out and say their name in the video, especially if they have a big channel. Six has a big channel, so there's no reason for him to not acknowledge it. Yes, his channel is bigger, but he still should say her name. But instead, he put her in there as a woman, as if she's just some chick, which as a content creator, I can understand why that would be annoying. But what's actually more problematic about it, which I understand why she said what she said, I understand what her beef is that he put in the title. Now, the problem with the thumbnail is that he put in the title, some men are going to die out, or men are dying out with body bags. That's not what she said in the video. So for Rip, besides the fact that you didn't put her name in the title, even though you're replying to her and you put her face in the title, which again, you're using her name, you're using her face, but you're not giving her that acknowledgement, you actually purposely was disingenuous and misrepresented what she said. Now, for those of you who are new here, you may not know I've debated MTR before, and he was disingenuous in that debate because he was losing it. And it's on the channel in case y'all want to see it. Well, Alex is capping. No, I'm not. He lost that debate. But what he tried to do to win the debate is when I brought up red pill content creators, he said, well, do you consider me a red pill content creator? To which I said, I didn't used to, but you use a lot of red pill talking points now. He's like, well, I'm not a red pill content creator. But if you look at his newest intros, what do you see? You see this. What was falling down in that video? Red pills. But he's not supposed to be a red pill content creator. So MTR is disingenuous. MTR just says and does things for content. You already can't trust what he says. I already don't respect him because he don't live what he rapped about. He came on here just doing reaction videos and tutorials. He's seen the money from red pill. He's seen the money you can make from incels. He's seen the money you can make from struggling men. And like plenty of other people, he decided to jump in and pander to men who can't get laid, pander to men who can't get women, jump into the red pill money bag and pretend to be something that he's not. I liked him a lot better when he was being himself. But now that he's not, can't really mess with him like that. So I'm just going to say that MTR being disingenuous and misrepresenting himself isn't really something new. But just to wrap up her reply to him, she said, I'm all about working with our men, not throwing them away. This is so gross. This is why I don't fuck with people. There is no respect and no honor in the content game. There's not. Because like I said, he just metamorphosized himself and tried to lie about what he metamorphosized himself into, even though he fully embraces it now, but that's neither here. People will do anything at anyone's expense for views and clout. I'm all for reacting to what someone actually said, not lying on them for views. I stand by anything I say and will make it known I'm being lied on and people are being misled. So that's where the beef started. The problems basically came about. She didn't like how he worded it in the thumbnail, which I can understand because he misrepresented her point in the video. And he didn't like that as a fellow content creator with a large platform, he didn't at least say her name, but he used her picture in the thumbnail, taught as if she's just some random chick with an opinion, like she doesn't have a whole platform, which I can understand. Now, who is actually right about the points made? Well, let's watch the video, and I'm going to give you my reaction. I'm going to tell you who I think was actually right about the points made. So Six gives her points first, so we're going to start with Six, and then from Six, we're going to work our way over to MTR. So let's get straight into it.
Monogamy was invented by men. Men need monogamy.
Because they wanted to, was it because the average man wanted to have a beautiful woman?
No.
Why was it?
No. Monogamy is necessary because if you say we're going to develop a polygamous community, well, what happen is what the women will do, because women, we are genetically wired to want to procreate with the biggest, strongest, richest man. This is embedded in us. It's nothing anyone can play God to say that I'm not like that. Yes, you are, sis. God made you that way. And it's for a reason. It's how you keep the human race going. Not all men are meant to be carried on. Some are meant to die out in their lifetime.
Now, right off the bat, if you pay attention to what Six says, if we're being honest, MTR should have no problem with it, because essentially what she discussed was female hypergamy, and how females are automatically wired to go to the biggest, strongest, richest man, or basically the man who seems more fit to be able to lead their family, provide for their family, or protect their family, which is just their biological base nature, which is your red pill. Y'all talk about this all the time. Okay? She acknowledged that, so check. There should be no problem with that. She then went on to say that if you have an openly polygamous society, the women are just going to sleep with those men, and it's going to leave a lot of other men out. Now, y'all also always run around here talking about the 80-20 rule. 80% of women are sleeping with 20% of men. So essentially, she quoted the 80-20 rule, and she quoted female hypergamy and said because of those two things, monogamy is more beneficial to men than it is to women, because at the end of the day, women would just go out here sleeping with the 20%. What is the problem with that? I don't understand what the issue is. He's doing a reply to this as if she said something so ridiculous and so stupid where I can't find what she said that was actually wrong. She said some men, every man is not going to be able to get a woman. Some men's legacy is going to die out. You shouldn't even have a problem with that. Now, you might not like the wording of that, right? But I expect red pill men not to be that soft because y'all all love Kevin Samuels. MTR hung out with Kevin Samuels all the time. He was basically Kevin Samuels' godbaby, or Kevin Samuels' son, Kevin Samuels Jr. Kevin Samuels said, and I quote, women who decide not to be feminine and submissive, fit, feminine, and friendly are going to die alone. So they might as well get a dog. So why is it that Kevin Samuels can say women who decide not to be fit, feminine, and friendly are going to die alone with a dog, but Six can't say men who don't propel themselves financially, physically, in the looks department, okay, and basically have the tools that women want, their legacy is going to die with them. What the hell is the difference? If one's funny to tell women they're going to die alone, then the other one should be funny too, or at least fun. So any dude who's a supporter of MTR or Kevin Samuels who has a problem with what she said is purposely being disingenuous, because one, Kevin Samuels said the same thing about women who refuse to be fit, feminine, and friendly. Two, she acknowledged the 80-20 rule, which I don't even agree with. I don't even think it's a thing. I have a whole video on that. I'm not going to talk about why I don't agree with it in this because it would take too much time. And three, she acknowledged female hypergamy. There should be no reply to this video just off of that alone. That's just me keeping it real. And it's funny that MTR decided to reach and stretch and be disingenuous and exaggerate just so that he could reply to this woman. But they allow women like Just Pearly Things to come online with her lily white, plain Jane, average Becky ass and say stuff as ridiculous as, oh, women shouldn't be allowed to vote because we can't be trusted to make the best decisions for ourselves. Which really, she's talking about liberal leftist women. Okay, and even in talking about them, and I'm not a leftist, to tell them that they don't deserve the right to vote is crazy. But she's also talking about grown women, as if grown women don't have enough cognitive functioning ability to be able to decide on something for themselves. And it's funny because she completely discounts how many women are conservative. There's a lot of conservative women. But she flat out said, women don't deserve the right to vote. Nobody replied to that. Now, what's more ridiculous? Saying men benefit from monogamy because if it didn't exist, women would maximize their hypergamous nature and a lot of men would never get a woman, or a woman telling other women that they shouldn't be able to vote. If you're not being full of it, a woman telling other women they shouldn't be able to vote is a bigger problem, because that's just stupid. But he would never reply to that because, you know, that's the white savior, that's the white queen, so they're not going to say nothing about that. But this black woman comes in here and says something that's literally not ridiculous, and before anyone says it, oh, you're kissing Six's ass, you can go on my archives and see one of my most viral videos is telling Six she needs to stay out of men's business because she doesn't know what she's talking about when she was talking about what a masculine woman is. So that's cat. MTR is just wrong here. But let's actually listen to his reply and break down all the reasons that he is actually wrong here.
Yeah, not all men are meant to be carried on the same way that not all women are meant to be mothers.
Okay, she never said, right off the bat, she never said all women were meant to be carried on. Nobody has said all women were meant to be carried on. Again, if you follow this channel, I have said numerous times, most people can't afford kids. Most people are not fit, okay, financially, emotionally, or mentally to even have kids or properly raise kids. And most people should just leave the whole kid thing alone. But at the end of the day, we can't control that. Having kids is a basic human right. Unless you're going to run around and put chastity belts on everybody's vagina and chastity belts on everybody's penis, which would be illegal as hell, people are going to have kids. And unfortunately, in the words of Eric Thomas, poor people are going to have the most kids, even though they're the most unfit to have them. So that's just a standard of reality. See, again, this is my problem. She never said all women deserve to have kids. So you start off your argument being disingenuous by making up a straw man because she never said that. Not to mention the fact that the reality is just based off of male nature. Now let's talk about male nature. What are men biologically wired and designed to do? To spread their seed. So men don't care about a woman's money, as y'all mention all the time. They don't even care if the damn woman has any money. She could be destitute. She could be poor. Men are wired to find attractive women, or just women in general, who are willing to sleep with them. And most men are going to clap them regardless of what. So because men are biologically wired to just sleep with women in general based off of superficial things, polygamy actually doesn't stop women from being able to have kids. It doesn't. The reality of the situation is this. If a comet came down and it smashed into the earth, right? And there were only 2 women left, but 200 men, we would be screwed. Why would we be screwed? Because these 2 women would have to get pregnant. They would be pregnant for 9 months. We would have to hope that they survived that whole 9-month pregnancy and then survive once they gave birth to the damn babies. And then we have to wait like 3 months before we can even knock them up again. And then we have to hope they can survive that. We might, if we're lucky, maybe get 6 kids apiece out of them. That's 12 kids. And then we better hope most of them are girls or we're in trouble. It would take forever to repopulate the planet if it even happened. Alright? Now, men on the other hand, if you had 200 women left, say a comet hit the earth, 200 women left and 2 men, we can repopulate the planet like that. Why? Because the 2 men could split the women up 100 and 100. We could just shoot off semen back to back to back to back to back to back to back, knock up all 100 of the women. So now we can afford for 20 something of them to die, 40 something of them to die, because we would still have 160, 140 something left, and we could repopulate the planet. So again, biologically speaking, it would make no sense for men to only be like, oh, we're going to only sleep with the highest level of women. That's a social construct. Biologically, we are designed to spread our seed, regardless if this is the baddest woman or not. So if you want to talk logic, that's some logic. What else? Let's see what else he had to say.
Oddly enough, this component of female nature that she's talking about is a component of the reason as to why the illegitimacy rates are so damn high. Nevertheless, I'm listening to her explanation, and it sounds like she's describing hypergamy as opposed to describing why men created monogamy as opposed to staying within polygamy. Because I don't think that it's men that need monogamy. I think it's societies that need monogamy. Prosperous societies. I mean, think about all the societies in our world today.
Now, let's just say it's not men who need monogamy. Let's just say it's society who needs monogamy. Well, why aren't you doing replies to Fresh and Fit, who consistently say that a man who's a high value man or a high earning man can have a harem of women and cheat and sleep with who he wants? Why didn't you say to Kevin Samuels, who said the same thing? High earning, high value men can have a plethora of women a harem of women and sleep with whoever he wants, and the women should just accept that he's going to cheat. See, now when a woman is talking about what's real, we want to pretend as men that we're these upstanding, monogamy promoting citizens who believe that one man should be with one woman and just have families and be great. That's not the reality of the situation. Most men, if they have the opportunity, are going to take multiple women. Goes back to what I just said about how we're biologically wired to do that. Monogamy forces us to be with one woman. Thus, those of us who can have multiple women. That's just the reality of the situation. Okay? So, understanding and acknowledging that, you got to realize we don't even really practice monogamy, if we're being honest. What monogamy literally means is that when you sleep with one person for your entire life, and that's it. And that's not what we do as men, and that's not what we do as women, excluding the virgins who are few and far between. What we actually practice in this country and in this world, if we're being honest, is temporarily exclusive monogamy, or what I like to call politically correct or ethical non-monogamy, which basically means that we sleep around, we find someone we really like, who we think we might be able to build a family with, and we make a temporary contract. Because most of us don't even get married, and MTR, amongst many other channels, don't even promote marriage. So what we'll do is we'll say, I like you, you like me, we seem to be aligning. Okay, so let's get together temporarily. We'll call each other boyfriend and girlfriend. We won't sleep with anyone else, and we'll be with each other until someone decides that they're not happy, or someone decides that they want to cheat, or someone falls off. Then we'll leave, and we'll go back to sleeping with random people until we get tired of that, and then we'll make another temporary contract. So that's what we really practice. None of us are monogamous, really, if we're being technical about the situation. But it's funny that now he wants to sit on this moral high ground and pretend that he's just like, one man should have one woman and we should just do family building. When that's really never how it's been. As a matter of fact, he's talking about, well, men constructed that in society. That's in recent society. If we were to go back into history, a lot of men never got women. You used to have to, back in the day, before we constructed monogamy, which goes back to Six's point about it helping men, back in the day, you would have to walk up to a woman's house, knock on the door, you would have to ask for the father's hand in marriage. The father would tell you what he required. Do you have a hut? Do you have 4 horses and a mule? Okay? How many yards of field do you have? All right? How many crops do you grow? Basically, what's your worth? And then he would decide if you could pay his price. If you couldn't pay his price, if you couldn't build him a shilling, if you didn't have the price that he put over his wife's head, guess what? You couldn't have his wife. And the men who were kings, or men who were from affluent families back in the day, had multiple women because they had enough money to buy multiple women from their fathers. So monogamy is a fairly new tool that's been pushed out throughout society, mainly due to the Industrial Revolution, when Western culture was pushed out throughout the society, and through religion. Most religions promote monogamy. But if we're really talking about going back into the days, alright, every man didn't get to spread his seed. Every man didn't get to have a woman because every man couldn't afford it. But anyways, let's continue and see what he had to say.
That are heavily steeped within a polygamous culture are not the most successful societies within the world. And why is that? Well, monogamy is essential to create stable societies. And that's because more men are interested in participating in that society when the resources are more readily available, meaning women. And when you take that away, because there's many more women that will be married to Drake and Drake's harem at the same damn time than messing around with your average $50,000 a year making ass. And that's just the reality of female nature, which what she is essentially talking about. And if polygamy was normal, 90% of the women would go with 10% of the men. And my argument is that when you have a society where the majority of the men are not allowed the opportunity to reproduce, you begin to create heavy instability within that society. And the men are not incentivized to produce or to work. Monogamy also ensures parental investment from the father. I mean, shit, if you're in a polygamous relationship and you have 15 kids within 5 years, it is impossible to invest a significant amount of time to those children to become highly effective and efficient and functional within a global competitive environment. And we talk ad nauseum in the importance of having fathers into the household, and we have the data, facts, and statistics to prove it.
All right, so let's wrap this up with this. First of all, he said, well, a polygamous society wouldn't be very beneficial to men. Duh! That was the entire point of her whole video, Goofy. Her whole point in the video was monogamy actually benefits men more than polygamy would. It's the red pillars who are acting like men should be able to sleep around. If you high value, you should be able to be with this and you should be able to be with that. If they had it their way, it would suck for men because most men ain't high value. The 10% is the 10% for a reason because it's hard to get to because everyone can't do it. So at that point, there will be a real 80-20 rule and men will really be losing. We're already starting to see some semblance of this happening right now. That's why your channel exists. Because 30% of men under the age of 30 nowadays are virgins, which is the highest it's ever been in the country's history. And why is that? Because women can work now. So they don't need you to take care of them, which means they don't necessarily need you to be around in the first place. All they really need you for is companionship and kids. And if they happen to like you enough to want to be with you or grow to the point where they love you. That's it. And because a lot of dudes nowadays are socially awkward and they don't know how to actually communicate, how to unlock a woman mentally, they rely on using their money. But guess what? Because women work just like men do, you have to have a substantial amount of money for that to matter. The amount of money most men cannot get to, hence why 30% of men are virgins, because they never actually learn to connect with a woman mentally, and y'all don't even teach them that. Y'all just tell them to go for this pipe dream of becoming a 10% man so that they can have a harem. If you really believe that men and women being monogamous and being together was better, again, why aren't you replying to Fresh and Fit? Because they don't agree with that. They agree with harems. You should be making a reply video to them. And then he decides to say, well, if you have a polygamous men, that's going to de-incentivize them to be good parents because if they have all of these kids, you know, they're not going to be able to be in the lives effectively of all these children. These children aren't going to be able to be properly educated and spend a proper amount of time with men. Oh, that's interesting. Because I've seen many content creators of the Red Pill, when we were talking about Nick Cannon, when we were talking about Future, when we were talking about all these dudes who have all these different kids by women, literally saying, oh, well, traditionally throughout society, men have never been the main caretakers of kids. So if a woman gets with a man and the man has money, it shouldn't matter if he's not around like that because he's still providing, and it's her job to make sure that the kids are raised properly since she's the first teacher. Now you're sitting here and you're saying, well, if we were in a polygamous society and the top percent of men were having all these different kids with all these different women, they wouldn't be able to effectively parent. So which one is it? Not only do you actually agree with her, and you're literally just disagreeing with her because it's one, a woman saying something that's intelligent, and a lot of y'all can't handle that, but two, a black woman saying something that's intelligent, which is a no-no amongst anyone who's black in the black manosphere for some damn reason. Y'all let white women come out here and run their mouths all day and never challenge anything they say, even if it's stupid, but if a sister says anything, y'all right on it. Y'all right on it. He doesn't even really disagree with anything she's saying. He's basically saying, oh yeah, I agree. Polygamy would be a bad thing. Which it would. Which was her point. So what are you replying for? Then on top of that, you refer to her as just a woman. Then on top of that, you make it seem like she's saying, oh, all you men are going to die out. Which wasn't the point of her video. Because we're not in a polygamous society. So what are you talking about? Like, this is what I'm trying to warn you guys about, alright? And it's not all Red Pill content creators, but a lot of these dudes lead you down a manhole where they're no different than modern feminists. Modern feminists are basically misandrous, masquerading themselves as feminists. A lot of these Red Pill manosphere dudes, they are basically misogynists, masking themselves as pro-man and masculinity. This video had no purpose by MTR to be made. And am I calling MTR misogynist? No. I'm saying that he's putting out this video to feed into Red Pill rage and to promote women at the degradation, to promote men, I should say, at the degradation of women, irregardless of actually listening to what he's saying. He literally doesn't even disagree with this woman at all. He's just undermining her because she's a black woman. That's the reality. Y'all gonna be pissed at me saying this. Y'all hate whenever I defend black women. I get it. Y'all hate them. Y'all can't stand them. But truth is truth. I speak truth to power. This is an unbiased channel. And the only reason MTR came at her like that is because she was a black woman making a good point. And I don't know why the hell it triggered him so much. Because again, if you really read between the lines of what he was saying, he was actually agreeing with her. But she's 100% right. He could have put her name in the video. He shouldn't have made the thumbnail the way it was because it's a lie. But you know, we got to get clicks and views by any means necessary. And this video really shouldn't exist. And if a white woman had made it, the video wouldn't exist. Y'all gonna get mad at me about saying that, but I don't care because it's the truth. But that's my thoughts on this situation. Six is actually right here, and MTR is being corny. I am Alex, and I am out.